Here are my answers to the notebook check for Module 5. Question 1, choose one of the proofs to complete. I chose this one. Here is the sketch that I drew. Sorry if it's a little hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom in. There, it should be a bit easier to see. Question 2, the GeoGebra one. This is the one I went with. And here's my first one. I'll read this out. Use the angle measure tool to add angle measurements to each of the angles within the triangle. Include those made by the altitude and the larger right angle. What do you notice about the measures of the angle in the triangle? So here's what it looks like. And the altitude splits the right angle into two smaller right triangles. Each smaller triangle has a 90-degree angle, and the other two angles are the same as the original triangle. The two smaller angles always add up to 90. Then use the move tool to move the vertices of the triangle around, keeping a close eye on the measurements of the various angles. And here we go. Here's the next one. Then question 3, application. What is the relationship between the tangent of complementary angles? The tangents of complementary angles are reciprocals of each other because the opposite and adjacent sides switch places in a right triangle. In general, if two angles add up to 90, the tangent of theta equals 1 over the tangent of 90 degrees minus theta. Question 4, overcoming challenge. Of all the things that you have learned in geometry so far from this module or earlier in the summer, which was the most challenging and why? I would actually say that this unit has been the most challenging so far, mainly because we have started doing a lot more challenging work that involves many differences from other weeks. I've been mostly using the same methods to do my work. I've just noticed that it's been a bit harder for me this week, but it has turned out good as I've still been able to understand this unit. And question 5, growth and strength. Review the list of outcomes below and answer the following. I think my biggest strength is solving problems using the Pythagorean theorem. I experienced the most growth with right triangle relationships and using geometric mean formulas because they were confusing at first, but I understand them much better now. Of everything I've learned in geometry so far, I'm most proud of learning how to complete proofs because they used to be difficult, and now I can follow the logic more easily. I think my parents would probably choose the same example. And that's it.